What's good, YouTube? It's me, Yugioh, and we're back with another video. Today, we are talking about a new FTK deck post Infinite Forbidden. This is an introduction to Gimmick Puppets. This is Konami's attempt at creating their own FTK, and I think that they were pretty successful at it, and it creates for at least a good rogue to tier 2 strategy. So a little bit of background about Gimmick Puppet. Gimmick Puppet is an XYZ spam deck from the Zexal area. It's an anime deck basically, and for its long history, it's pretty much been a terrible deck. The only Gimmick Puppet card that has really seen a lot of play is Gimmick Puppet of Nightmare, which is used in other decks in order to lock your opponent into summoning Gimmick Puppets, which is a terrible archetype which you would have no cards in it in your deck. So, but now we get some new Gimmick Puppet support in the next set, Infinite Forbidden, that I think makes the deck pretty viable. So let's talk about them. We'll talk about the new cards, and then we'll talk about the existing cards. So the first and the most important new card is Gimmick Puppet Bloody Doll. This card is basically Exo Sister Martha. If it's in your hand, you can reveal a Gimmick Puppet XYZ monster in your extra deck, special summon itself plus a Gimmick Puppet monster from your deck whose level equals that monster's rank, and then it locks you into Gimmick Puppets for the rest of the turn. And then if it's sent to your graveyard, it adds itself back to your hand. So it's just an all-around very solid card, and it's basically, it becomes the best monster in the deck, really. The next one is Gimmick Puppet Cattle Scream. So while the most important part about this card is while it's in the graveyard, you can detach an Xyz material from a monster you control to special summon it back, but banish it when it leaves the field. And then the other effect is while it's under a Gimmick Puppet XYZ monster, it gives it the effect that once per turn you can target a monster your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to their field in defense position. You can use that in an actual game situation when you're going second in order to like try to burn them for some damage. But for FTK, that effect is not really relevant. We're mainly using the first effect in order to revive itself as a level 8 extender. The next card is Gimmick Puppet Little Soldier. This card on normal or special summon sends a Gimmick Puppet monster with a different level from the deck to the graveyard. And then what it does is it becomes the level of the monster that is sent to the graveyard. And then in the graveyard, you can banish it to target 2 Gimmick Puppet monsters you control and increase their levels by 4. So it's a Fool's Burial, so it'll dump your Bloody Doll, and that's how a lot of your combos get started. But its second effect is also relevant for a lot of your 2-card combos in order to turn your level 4 Gimmick Puppet monsters into level 8s. The last new, like, quote-unquote Gimmick Puppet card are the spells and traps. But this card is amazing. It's called Mansion of the Underworld Dolls. And this is what it reads. It says, when this card is activated, you can add 1 Gimmick Puppet monster from your deck to your hand. Gimmick Puppet monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, they're unaffected by your opponent's non-XYZ monster effects. So, this card, while it's face up, makes all monster hand traps basically dead against your Gimmick Puppet monsters. And going second, it makes your Gimmick Puppet monsters unaffected by your opponent's field and they can't die by battle. So this card is absolutely broken. And that's not all it does. The third effect is once per turn, you can detach an Xyz material from a monster you control. And then target 1 Gimmick Puppet monster in your graveyard, special summon it to your opponent's field in defense position. That effect is integral to help you FTK on the first turn. The last card is Service Puppet. So this card is searchable by one of the new Xyz, and it reads, target monsters your opponent control up to the number of Gimmick Puppet XYZ monsters you control. Take control of them into the end phase. If you control a Gimmick Puppet XYZ monster except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish it, target Xyz monster in either player's graveyard, special summon it to their field in defense position. So this card is never really being used because the aim of the deck is the FTK, but obviously hand traps that target the graveyard and things of that sort exist. So this card is here for when you can't FTK, you set a big snatch steal. It's basically like a DDD headhunt sort of deal where they gave the deck like a 1-of trap card that's searchable that is a snatch steal, which I think is cool because I like DDD headhunt as a card. Then for the 2 new XYZs, we have Gimmick Puppet Fantastic Machina. This card is amazing. It's probably the best I keep on saying the best, as in, but all these cards are just amazing. But basically, this card takes 2 level 8s, and you can detach an Exceed material to add a rank up magic spell card from your deck to your hand. Also, during the main phase, you can normal summon a machine monster in addition to your normal summon. So it searches a rank up magic and it gives you an additional normal summon. Then the second effect is, if you special summon a Gimmick Puppet XYZ while it's in the graveyard, you can special summon it to either player's field and defense position and add a rank up magic from your graveyard to your hand. So this card, amazing. 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 card for Gimmick Puppets. This card's amazing. And going with the theme of Zexal and ranking up, we have its Chaos XYZ form. Basically, when this card is special summoned, you add a puppet trap from your deck to your hand, so it can add service puppet. And then it also says you can detach 1 Exceed material to special summon 1 monster from either player's graveyard to your opponent's field in defense position. And then the third effect says if your opponent special summons a monster to their field, you can destroy it and deal damage equal to half of its attack position. Half of its attack. So again, another fantastic card. Really helps the deck and makes it an actual strategy. Then for the existing Gimmick Puppet cards, we play 2 copies of Scissor Arm. This card says on normal summon, send a Gimmick Puppet monster from your deck to your hand. Another way to get to Bloody Doll. The reason why you don't play 3 with this card is we don't want to play too many normal summons, and it's just a worse card than Little Soldier. It's basically does the exact same thing as Little Soldier, but it's just worse in every way than Little Soldier. It's just a strictly worse copy of Little Soldier, but it's more copies of Little Soldier, so we'll include it in the deck. Then we play 2 copies of Terror Baby. When this card is normal summoned, you can target a Gimmick Puppet monster in your graveyard except for itself. Special summon it to your field and defense position. Then it reads, you can banish this card from your graveyard. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in respect to Gimmick Puppet monsters you control. Then for our one-ofs, we play 1 Gimmick Puppet Dreary Doll. If this card's in your graveyard, you can banish 1 other Gimmick Puppet monster from your graveyard to special summon it, and it locks you into Gimmick Puppets. And then we play 1 copy of Gimmick Puppet Bonkyu Doll, and you can special summon it from your hand by discarding a Gimmick Puppet monster, so it helps unclog your hand. And then you can banish it from your graveyard, and your opponent cannot target Gimmick Puppet monsters you control with card effects this turn. So yeah, that's it for the Gimmick Puppet engine. Then obviously we have Argent Chaos Force, which is your rank up magic. As for the extra deck stuff, we have 1 copy of Gimmick Puppet Gigantic's Doll. I don't even know how to pronounce that. This card is never summoned, but as you remember with the Bloody Doll, we have to reveal levels in order to summon stuff from deck. So if you want to summon like a Little Soldiers from your deck, you have to reveal a rank 4 Gimmick Puppet XYZ, and this is our rank 4. We read these 2. We have 1 Gimmick Puppet Giant Grinder. This card takes 2 level 8s, and it says up to twice per turn during the main phase 1. That is important. You can detach 1 Exceed material from this card, target a special summon monster your opponent controls, destroy it. Then if it was an Exceed monster, deal damage equal to its original attack. That card helps us FTK with some of our lines. Then we play 3 copies of String and 3 copies of Chaos String. Basically, when String is once per turn, you can detach an Exceed material from String to put a String counter on every other monster on the field. That is the important part of strings. So we can talk about big strings. When big strings is special summoned, not just Exceed summon, when it's special summoned, you destroy as many monsters on the field with string counters, draw a card, then your opponent takes damage equal to the monster with the highest attack that had a string counter on it. Then its other effect is you can detach an Exceed material to put string counters on all monsters your opponent controls. So, and neither of those effects are once per turn. Then we play 1 copy of Chaos Giant Grinder. This card is not really summoned also, but it is important for when you get Nibiru'd, because while you have the field spell, your Gimmick Puppet monsters are unaffected by opponent's monster effects, but not Gimmick Puppet monsters you give your opponent. So when you give your opponent Gimmick Puppet monsters, there are some lines where, so the way that you're FTKing is by burning Gimmick Puppet monsters you give your opponent. So what your opponent might try to do is like Nibiru in order to remove the monsters off the board so you don't burn them. But then this card is how you deal the rest of the damage, because it reads once per turn, detach and Exceed material from this card, target a monster your opponent controls, destroy it, and deal damage equal to that monster's attack. So if they nib themselves in order to clear the Gimmick Puppet monsters, you can summon this card and then burn them for 3,000. And that can be the difference between you FTKing them or not. And then we play 2 copies of the Link Gimmick Puppet Chimera Doll. It takes 2 machines during the main phase that this card is Link summoned. You cannot special summon monster from the extra deck except for Machine Xyz. That's fine. And it's when it's summoned, it takes a Gimmick Puppet monster from your deck, either sends it to the graveyard or adds it to your hand. Then if all you control is Gimmick Puppet monsters, you can special summon a Gimmick Puppet monster from your hand. So that's a lot, and that's a mouthful, but we're never controlling anything other than Gimmick Puppets for the most part. And yeah, so this is Konami's attempt at making their own FTK deck, and we are going to look at some combos. So for our first combo, we have just Mansion of the Underworld Dolls. So with just Nightmare of the Underworld Dolls, what are we able to get to? So for this combo, we're going to activate Nightmare of the Dolls. We're going to search Little Soldiers. Little Soldiers will dump Bloody Doll. Bloody Doll will add itself back to the hand. We'll reveal Bloody Doll. Reveal a rank 8 in order to summon Cattle. Then we'll overlay those two to summon Machina. Machina will grab a copy of Argent Chaos Force. So now we're going to rank up our Gimmick Puppet Fantastic Machina. And on summon, it'll search our trap, the Service Puppet. Next, we're going to activate our Cattle Scream in the graveyard, detaching the Fantastic Machina in order to special summon itself back. Keep in mind our Little Soldier is a level 8 because we dumped a level 8 monster. Then we're going to overlay those two in order to summon Gimmick Puppet of Strings. Next, we're going to activate Argent Chaos Force to add itself back because we special summoned Xyz. Then we're going to detach one from our strings to put a counter on our Fantastic Machina. Then we're going to detach one from Fantastic Machina in order to summon Cattle Scream to our opponent's side of the field. Next, we're going to activate our Argent Chaos Force in order to rank up our little strings into big strings. This will trigger 2 chains, Chain Link 1, Chain Link 2. So we'll destroy our Fantastic Machina and bring back our regular Machina and bring back Argent Chaos Force. We'll burn our opponent for 3,100, and then we're also supposed to draw a card. Yep. Next, we'll detach an Xyz material in order to put a string counter on the Cattle Scream. We'll rank up our other copy into another big string. Big string will destroy a Cattle Scream and deal 2,000, draw another card. Then we'll activate the effect of our field spell to detach an Xyz material in order to summon regular strings to our opponent's side of the field. We'll detach an Xyz material in order to put a string counter on it. Then we'll link both away into our Chimera Doll. Chimera Doll will add Terror Baby. Then remember at the beginning of the combo we get an additional normal summon because of Fantastic Machina. We can normal summon our Terror Baby. Terror Baby target Chaos Strings. Chaos Strings on special summon will summon itself, destroy the opponent string, and deal the last 3,000. So with just one copy of Mansion of the Underworld Dolls, you're able to deal 100 points of damage. And this whole combo is protected by cards like not Imperm, it's protected from Veiler, Mourner, Ash, all monster hand traps pretty much. So the way that this deck beats cards like Impermanence and Spell and Traps, mainly Impermanence for the time being, is we're utilizing, this is the card that I forgot to talk about, Condolence Doll. What Condolence Doll does is it sends Gimmick Puppet monsters with different names from your deck to your graveyard up to the number of monsters your opponent controls that were special stuff from the extra deck +1. So if you're using it on your first turn, it says +1, so it'd be 0 + 1. So it's a Foolish Burial. So the way that you beat cards like Imperm and other hand traps is you use Condolence Doll, cards like Foolish Burial. If you already have 2-card combos, or say you already draw Bloody Doll, you can use your Little Soldiers in order to dump the. You can't use Little Soldier, but you can use like Condolence Doll, the Scissor to dump cards like Terror Baby and the other level 8 Gimmick Puppet, which turn off different things your opponent can do, like Terror Baby. If it's in the graveyard, if you dump it, you can banish it from the graveyard and your opponent can't respond. And then the other level 8s, the Bonq Doll, you can banish it from the graveyard and your opponent can't target your Gimmick Puppets. So you really want to dump those cards before you start comboing to really insulate your FTK. But this is the 1-card FTK onto the next combo. For the next combo is if you don't open up the field spell, but you open up Little Soldiers plus any level 4 Gimmick Puppet. So for this combo, I'm just showing another Little Soldier, but it can be any level 4 Gimmick Puppet monster. It doesn't have to be Little Soldier. So for this combo, we're going to normal summon our Little Soldier, dump our Bloody Doll. Bloody Doll will trigger, add itself back to the hand. Next, we're going to activate Bloody Doll in order to special summon itself, revealing a rank 8 in order to summon out our Cattle Scream from the deck. We'll overlay both of our 8s into Fantastic Machina. Fantastic will detach the Cattle Scream in order to search Argent Chaos Force. We get an additional normal summon. So the combo starts off the same. We're going to make our Chaos, search our trap. Then we're going to Cattle Scream, detach the Fantastic Machina to summon itself back. Overlay those two into String. This will trigger the Argent Chaos Force in the graveyard to add itself back. Next, we'll activate String, detaching the Cattle Scream to put a counter on the Fantastic. Fantastic, detach the last Xyz material to summon back the Cattle Scream to the opponent's field. We'll rank up into our Chaos String, Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2, add back our Argent Chaos Force, pop it and burn. Also draw a card. I forgot to draw a card, but you're drawing cards whenever you activate String. Next, we'll detach String to put a counter on the Cattle Scream. And then this time, we're going to link immediately into our copy of Chimera Doll. Next, we're going to activate Chimera Doll to add the Terror Baby and then special summon the other level 4 Gimmick Puppet from our hand. Then we're going to normal summon the Terror Baby to bring back the Chaos String. Chaos String on special summon will destroy the Cattle Scream, burn, and draw another card. So we burn for 2,000. Now we're going to activate the Little Soldier to make both of our level 4s level 8s. We're going to overlay them both into another copy of String. We're going to detach one from String to put a String counter on all of our other cards or all other cards on the field. Then we're going to rank up our strings into another Chaos String, destroy both of our other monsters, and burn them for the Chaos String because it was the highest attack. So this is another FTK, 2-card FTK with the Gimmick Puppet strategies. So overall, what do I think about the Gimmick Puppet strategy? I think that it has a lot of potential. Do I think that is it a immediate high tier deck? No, not necessarily, but I do think that it's amazing legacy support. I think it is competitive. I do think that people will play this deck, and you can definitely lose to this deck at an event. So I would definitely be prepared. But if you guys like these type of videos, make sure to like and subscribe. Appreciate it. There's going to be more Infinite Forbidden content coming out in the next month or so as we get ready for the national season. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.